Hello everybody and welcome back for another episode of Indie Impressions. My name is Nick and today we're going to be checking out something called Critical Mass by developer Devoga. This is an isometric action shooter where we're going to be defending our home planet Earth, I suppose, from invading aliens by blasting them with machine guns and rocket launchers in a custom-built voxel environment. And this is actually sort of an offshoot from another of the developer's projects. This was created to test out the action capabilities in this custom voxel engine. It's actually a quite pretty engine, I have to say. So why don't we jump right into things and we'll see how long we can survive. I should mention, of course, is a little bit on the gory side, cartoonish gore. I don't know if anybody out there really cares too much, but I figure I might as well just mention it just in case. So I've pressed spacebar and we're going to start, and I shall explain the very few controls that we have to deal with here. So I'm using WASD to walk around, and we've got our reticle here, which is going to correspond with left click to fire our machine gun, which of course, as you can see, is obliterating these aliens before they even get on the screen. But not to worry, there will be many, many more of them. In the top left corner of the screen, we've got our kill counter, and then if I right click, we've got a rocket launcher, which actually is very satisfying to fire, and we actually seem to have unlimited ammo on all of our capabilities, so that's good news, because we're going to need all of it. So the first things that I notice about this as I'm walking around are, the very first thing I noticed is, why isn't this a zombie game? Because the blood and gore sort of says to me, like, this was made to be a zombie game, but you know, aliens can have blood in them too, there's nothing wrong with that. The second thing, though, I notice is this voxel engine actually has quite a few nice touches to it. There's actually some really nice, depth of field effects going off in the distance. We've got dynamic shadowing. We've actually got some colored lighting emitting off of this tracer that you can see coming from my machine gun. The one thing that I guess is a little bit unfortunate is our character doesn't seem to actually be holding a machine gun. I'm just sort of expelling fire from my body in all directions as if I was the ship in Geometry Wars or something like that. But, you know, kind of everything. And especially when this is just sort of a test build for a concept, I don't really have very huge expectations or anything like that. So next thing that I'm noticing is I'm actually sort of wailing away at some of these trees, and they do actually dynamically deform. Oh my god, there's a lot of dudes on the screen. I am not going to live much longer. But as with most custom voxel engines, you want to see things sort of breaking apart. I think that's sort of the main appeal of going in that direction, wanting to bother with a voxel engine. It certainly makes things a lot more characteristic and interesting looking to have that level of dynamism going on in every frame, and it was pretty wild how many things we just had chasing me all at once a second ago, which I guess is sort of another hallmark of how voxel engines work. And I guess I can't really say that I have a ton of experience in voxel engines, but I have played a game called Vox, which was, using another voxel engine, and there was also, I think it was called Voxatron, which is a game that's been sort of perpetually in development that I did a video on a long time ago, that actually looked fairly similar to this. Although this certainly has a wider range in terms of the camera angle. You can see a lot more stuff going on at the same time than you could in Voxatron. But totally different style game. That was more like an RPG adventure style thing. This is just a straight up action shooter. And again, an offshoot of another game, which I'm not entirely sure what genre it's going to be of. But I have to say, if it plays like this action part of it, I am going to be very happy to play it. And this is actually quite a bit of fun, even if it doesn't necessarily go anywhere specifically crazy or great. I'm perfectly content to do one function and do it well. And especially when it's going to be appropriated into something else, I think there's not really any harm in that. As I mentioned with my video on Ollie Ollie the other day, if you have a specific thing that you do really well and then you add leaderboards to it, it can very quickly become addictive. And this is sort of where we're at with this. I imagine if the developer wanted to turn this into its own game, put a bunch of skin swaps on it, have some different layouts, and, I guess procedural designs for the levels would probably be kind of necessary here, but they might actually already be, because I've started out on top of trees sometimes, and other times not. I didn't even realize I could jump, but that doesn't really help me a whole lot here. But anyway, yeah, I'd say just changing out some cosmetic stuff, adding the ability to have this be like a zombie horde mode, maybe get some multiplayer in, which is not a small feat by any means. But it would certainly go a long way to making this be even more enjoyable. I'm imagining getting 4 friends together and just blasting zombies or robots or whatever you want to have coming at us. And then going for a high score could be really kind of fun and appealing. And then have maybe a random boss show up every now and then. I could even see a Binding of Isaac style game created in something like this. Is there actually? I don't know if there's really a Binding of Isaac style game. I guess probably the closest thing would be Voxatron. done in a voxel engine, I mean. Or maybe 3D Dot Game Heroes. I'm pretty sure that was created in a voxel engine, right? I'm sure you guys know off the top of your heads. I should probably be using my rocket launcher a lot more since there's not really any restrictions on it other than just a small cooldown between shots. I'm a little sad to see that the tree ends seem to like stick up into the air. Oh, look how nice that was when that tree broke apart. That looks really nice. Oh my god, so much carnage. Well, it gets me killed very quickly, doesn't it? Oh, I'm standing on top of the tree. Probably wondering when I start a round, when I just stay on top of the tree. Well, they'll start shooting me and stuff with their lasers. It's not going to get me very far, but I can try and do a mode where I don't really move at all and see how that goes. And there you can see the custom deformation on the trees, so they actually can kind of carve parts of them away, which is neat. Also, I forgot, did I actually mention? I don't think I even did. If you hold down control, you can actually set where the machine gun fires, so it's not just moving horizontally, you can actually move it up and down along all axes. So if you wanted to do some specific shots, which in this case is not really necessary since there's not much of any, you know, height differentiation from one area to another. It looks like there might be, you know, slight inclines with the way that this ground seems to be laid out, but it's not anything substantial enough that you really have to worry about, you know, moving up and down along the y-axis or anything like that. I guess for now we can get away with sort of like an original Doom-style firing mechanic where the game just sort of adapts to the firing for you. It's very gory when I fire at these things. They seem to burst apart into a stream of blood. And it actually leaves quite a few of these custom blood decals all over the ground, which, you know, if you're into that kind of thing, I imagine this would be very enjoyable to see. There's a lot of indication of the havoc that's gone on in this battlefield, and I think that's, like I said earlier, you know, one of the many reasons why using a voxel engine is really cool, because it lets you actually keep all of these very granular changes that you've made to the game by modifying, you know, one tiny bit at a time, whether that be through a rocket or whether that be through your machine gun or, you know, the enemy fire, anything like that. And all of a sudden, you've got a landscape that is just completely wrecked. And there's not a lot that really polygonal situations can do with something like that, and I would love to see this even be taken to a further extreme than this. Have there be other things that we can wreck in terms of environmental hazards and features. Get some exploding barrels involved, because you know what is shooting aliens without exploding barrels, right? But you know, there's a lot of promise. Again, just a very simple game, though. Critical Mass isn't necessarily something that I would expect to be developed into something fuller on its own, but if it was, I could easily see it being a lot of fun. So I think that's about where we're going to end up on this one. Definitely go check it out if you like. There's absolutely nothing stopping you. I mean, it's totally free. You can play it right in your browser and play it as long as you want and see how high you can get on the old kill counter there. And feel free to post your high scores in the comments. And in general, just let me know what you think about this one. Very pretty engine, and I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more by this developer, and especially where this all goes in the future of the main project of things. So that'll be it for today. Links are all going to be in the description if you want to check out this game or check out some of the other videos in the series. There's over 800 other ones, and I should probably just start up another run while I'm sitting here talking. But feel free to let me know what you think about this game in general, what you like, what you don't like about the voxel engine, how you feel voxel engines work in general, if you like them, you know, if you prefer them even to other engines, if you have even a preference, or, you know, anything that pops into your mind is totally cool. And see, now you can totally see how the tree breaks apart. The tree breaks apart. There it goes. It doesn't fall, though. Anyway, feel free to leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. It does help me out quite a bit, and I greatly appreciate it. And be sure to come back again tomorrow for another episode of Indie Impressions. These go up every single day, so I look forward to seeing you again for another one. And I hope you have a fantastic night. Talk to y'all later.